Hello and welcome to today's video. And I would like to speak to community as an important protection in crisis. So I think that there's kind of a variety of our levels of understanding around this protective factor of community. And I have been hearing stories from our tribe over this last week, especially of how challenging last week was. And so I felt that it was important to be able to bring up about the importance of community. So I know that it can be difficult for some people with unhealed relational trauma to even touch in on this topic of community. Uh, Relational trauma, it fragments our sense of well-being, it fragments our sense of identity, and it can often causes us to feel like the world is an unsafe place and that it's unsafe to emotionally connect with other people. Um, I know this well from my own journey of having grown up in a cult where there was sexual violence just woven into the culture of this cult. And that included sexual violence towards the children. So I know very well about the impacts of relational trauma on our ability to be able to have intimacy in any form after such a trauma. And so um, it is important to take steps to heal relational trauma, and those steps need to be taken um, in a slow paced way, honoring our own pacing, but at the same time, it's not healthy just to stay in the safe zone of just staying alone. This is a key part of trauma healing. And um, I know that people have different models for stages of trauma healing, but like a very kind of standard three-phase model by Judith Herman is creating safety. And it does make sense that you need to be able to create some level of safety before you can be doing healing. The second level is um, remembrance and mourning. So actually remembering and mourning the losses that happened because of the trauma. And then the third phase is reconnection with community. And I think it's very powerful, this model that she put forward that I think basically other people have just, modified or worked with her original model. But how interesting it is that she sees this last phase of healing as reconnecting with community. And it's because um, we are human beings, and human beings, we're designed, we're meant to be connected with others. And so it is so important for us to find ways of healing those disconnections within us so that we can take those courageous little steps of entering into connection with others. And in this case, talking specifically about community, because I think that in addition to, this sort of, basic trauma perspective, I think that it's well known that one of the most protective factors for going through an existing current trauma is community. So, with what is happening in the United States right now, and which is, spilling over into other areas of the world, this trauma that's happening, it's so important to be building in this protective factor of community. If you think about it, one person against a tidal wave of harm and harshness, that that is the image of going it alone. And this alternative image of being connected with community, when you are faced with that, perhaps that tidal wave of harm coming at you, if you know that you are connected with this wide network of light workers, of people who are in touch with their heart, who care about you, it gives you strength. It emboldens you for being able to deal with that tidal wave. So instead of just getting bowled over by the tidal wave, this protective factor of being connected in a good way with community. So I don't mean a superficial way of just saying, hey, I'm part of that community. And like it just, that's it. What I'm talking about is actually investing your heart. So, like for instance, with our community, investing your heart can look like you posting a really kind response to somebody who maybe posted something a bit vulnerable under one of the YouTube videos. You're investing your emotional self through care for that person. You putting a nice response to their post. Um, you investing yourself emotionally can also mean if you've signed up for my newsletter, I reach out to you and say, hey, I'd love to invite you to have a 15-minute call so that we can meet, and you accepting my invitation and us meeting and, creating, relationship, this direct relationship between us. That's another way of investing in community. You're going to feel more a part of the community if you've actually met me in person. Um, Contributing on the Patreon. That is another way of sowing your heart into this community. You are supporting me creating these videos. You are investing your money and your heart in this community. And so you will feel a deeper connection with this community. So these are all ways of investing um, in feeling into how could I take a little step of being connected with this community. And then because you are invested in it, you feel like you belong in it, you feel a part of it, you have the support of all these thousands of people who are part of this community. And so when that tidal wave comes and, threatens to wash over you and your house, on one certain day, you have this resource of being connected with thousands of warriors of peace, and you're part of them, and it helps you to remember your own warriorship, to say, maybe this tidal wave is trying to appear as a tidal wave, but maybe it's not so big. Maybe it's not so powerful. Maybe it's trying to manipulate my mind, making me think that it is so big. It helps you to be able to take that little more reflective stance and to be able to respond appropriately with courage to that tidal wave. So this is an example of being connected with the Warriors of Peace community, but I know that other people, like they are creating communities. Like there are people in Warriors of Peace that are telling me about these amazing communities that they are creating, which are hugely supportive. One woman has an online group. I'm not sure if it's 16 women or maybe there's more women at this point in her online group. They meet every week and they are supporting each other through this crisis in the United States. They are sharing strategies, they're giving emotional support to each other. They feel stronger. They don't feel alone because they are investing in that community. So there are all kinds of communities out there. And so all you need to do is to see what resonates for you, what lifts up your spirit, what makes you feel empowered, and then invest yourself in that community. Take a little risk, share something, create more connection. So again, I said a little risk, not a huge risk. Again, this is going back to recovering from relational trauma and taking calculated risks, because if you do not take risks in relationships, you will never develop intimacy. But a calculated risk is like a smaller risk in a place where you've got good reason to think that your risk will be well received. And it is not about, bearing every last deepest secret. It's a small risk, a calculated risk. And that is how you can develop intimacy. So what I'm talking about is intimacy in the context of community, because community is a hugely protective factor when you're going through something as big as what we're going through with what's happening in the United States. So, on the community note, we are having a live community event this Sunday, and I'm hosting it. It's a Warriors of Peace Training 101, and it's an opportunity to connect with community. So, obviously, it would be awesome if you can come live, but even if you can't come live, if the time just won't work for you, you can still register, you can still energetically be part of it, and you will receive the replay. And I know that you'll feel like you were there. You'll be with us there spiritually on Sunday, and you will be with us when you actually watch the replay. So, this is a powerful way to connect with the protective factor of this Warriors of Peace community, and also to connect with me, who I am serving as the leader, as the sort of the central campfire through, around which this tribe is gathering. So it's a powerful opportunity to connect with the leader, campfire leader, as well as this growing large circular tribe of amazing people just like you. So I hope that you will be able to join us on Sunday. I will include a link to register for the live event. It's free. There's a replay, and it would be simply incredible if you can join us. So the link will be below this video, and hope to see you on Sunday. Bye bye.